Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. We learn more about how the Peony Lotus became the official Tzu Chi Volunteer certification flower in the annual ceremony. Tzu Chi volunteers in Cambodia distribute rice to help the flood victims in a township in Phnom Penh. Living their life in the city, a couple from Sichuan returned to their hometown to farm and also spread goodness around them. At Tzu Chi's year-end blessing ceremonies, participants will receive red envelopes of blessing and wisdom. The fund for these red envelopes comes from Master Zheng Yan's book royalties. Since 1992 till present, there has been different designs for the red envelopes, which comes with Master's sincere wishes for the public. Let's learn more.
The volunteers mindfully placed their 3 rice grains, paying attention to their positions.
We've seen the change this year. It looks like it is circling around planet Earth.
The rice grains symbolize the seeds of compassion are spread to different parts of the world. It also represents how the heavier the rice years, the lower they bend.
感恩的心很尊敬，然后这个稻穗。
The rice grains are from Daling Tzu Chi Hospital's Daai farm. They're planted by the medical staff. When the CEO of Tzu Chi's medical mission was still the superintendent of the hospital, people have started to use the rice grains in making the red envelopes of blessing and wisdom.
It is our blessings as the Master wants to use them to form good affinities with people.
It is hard to place the round commemorative coins. Besides using professional tools, the volunteers have set up standardized steps. They have to place the lines at the center of the Chinese characters on the coins and press them for 3 seconds. The process shows the mindfulness of Tzu Chi volunteers. This year, there are Chinese and English Jingzi aphorisms on the red envelopes. The recipients might be getting different ones.
Sometimes when you have worries, the Jingzi aphorisms can inspire you and help you let go of your worries. It is quite useful.
The picture of the Great Awakened One represents the Buddha who caresses the earth with his warm hands, inspiring everyone's compassion. There's meaning in every detail.
所以我会说，年年都要很珍惜这个红包，这就是也是诚知情的福慧祝福的红包。
The fund for the red envelopes comes from Master Zheng Yan's royalty on books. The red envelopes of blessing and wisdom come with her sincere wishes for her disciples and the general public.
The annual Tzu Chi Volunteer Certification Ceremony includes the Peony ritual, and starting from 2016, the flowers were changed to Peony Lotus, a flower often used by the Thai people to send blessings to the Buddha. These handmade flowers are first partially processed in Thailand, and then shipped to Taiwan to be fully assembled by Tzu Chi volunteers. Let's take a look at this process.
The peony lotus is native to Thailand, often used as offering to the Buddha. There are dozens of petals with some up to hundreds. It is a hardy flower that has a long blooming period.
In 2016, Master Zheng Yan said, "Doesn't Thailand have peonies that look similar to a lotus flower? Can we use the Thailand offering flowers for the Buddha as our official certification lotus?"
In Thai, a lotus is called Bwa Sata Bangkat, and it's something commonly seen in the flower markets. Some people take lotus flowers and fold them inward to use as offering to the Buddha.
To make each of these peony lotus, it takes about 10 people and 45 minutes to complete. The dewdrops added take 4 hours for it to completely dry before it could be packaged up.
During the making process, all the employees know these flowers will be given to volunteers that are doing something good for society. They're all selfless givers of society, so the workers are honored to be part of the assembly process. These flowers are going to living bodhisattvas on earth.
ชื่นใจอยากฝากบอกว่าตั้งใจทำให้นะ
These pins are blessings for the certified volunteers that money can't buy.
Lotus flowers are often a symbol of a cultivator with their hearts like a lotus growing pure and beautiful from muddy waters, but not tainted by its environment. Tzu Chi volunteers look to invite more people to join their ranks.
When the master held this, she said there are 36 lotus seeds in a pot, and if these seeds fell, then it will grow 36 individual flowers. It's really like the sutra of immeasurable meanings.
The half-finished flower will be personally delivered to Taiwan by Tzu Chi volunteers from Thailand and given to volunteers in Xindian to fully complete, so that Tzu Chi's love may be spread to more forgotten corners of the world.
Today we meet Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital's Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Zhang Hengjia, who is a cardiologist. His area of specialty and his dedication to helping the less fortunate has earned him a Special Contribution Award from the new Taipei City government. Let's take a closer look at his story.
A heart attack is often a life and death situation. This is why Dr. Zhang Hengjia has, since the establishment of the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, pushed for a cardio rescue team at the center. As the leader of the cardiac team, Dr. Zhang is confident in his ability to perform emergency cardiac catheterization surgery. While in facing the pressure of a race against time, Dr. Zhang doesn't only rely on his experience, but also his ability to stay calm under the situation.
When I see them, they are often on their last breath. That pressure is really intense, but if you run away from that, then you might never succeed. When you are dealt with the situation, you just continue on. If you are successful once, you'll be successful again.
Despite having tons of patients waiting during his clinical hours, Dr. Zhang's friendly demeanor remains.
He's friendly towards his patients, even though he sees many each day. He's never annoyed at them, even after a long day of work. He's always very patient in explaining what the ailments are.
As it's hard for residents in remote regions to seek medical help as long as he's free during the weekend, Dr. Zhang will join Tzu Chi's medical outreach. His medical services expand from remote-free clinics in Taiwan to overseas medical outreaches.
Will you ask her to hold her breath for 5 seconds?
They often delay seeking treatment due to financial difficulties or their place in society. After returning to my post at the hospital, I can use these overseas experiences to know what I need to do more to improve on.
In the medical field for some 30 years, Dr. Zhang faces the high pressure of his job with ease and keeps in mind his initial aspiration of being a doctor as he helps safeguard more patients' health.
Have you ever heard of a special cooking method in which when you stir-fry vegetables by first adding water into the frying pan and then a little bit of oil before vegetables are added? This way, the cook can avoid the carcinogens produced by the oil due to high temperatures. Here is our report. We still encourage everyone to use vegetable oil, but this kind of oil is intolerant of great heat, as fumes may be produced, which affects our lungs. In addition, this high temperature causes the smoke points to occur, which produces carcinogens. This also impacts our health. So we suggest people change the way they fry food by pouring appropriate amount of water into the pan before adding a little oil. Finally, put vegetables into the pan so that the oil will not produce fumes. By doing so, we can still smell the aroma of foods as well as it's healthy. In fact, the taste of bran and endosperm in brown rice and germ rice is not delicious for most people. So when you cook, we suggest you soak brown rice and germ rice first and then refrigerate it. Later, cook them the next day. By doing this, the rice may be softer. If you are busy at work and you think it's troublesome to soak rice every day, you can soak larger amounts of rice at a time and then drain it and refrigerate it to store it. Later, you can take out a small amount and cook it after it returns to normal temperature. With this cooking method, you can cook delicious germ rice or brown rice. Traditionally, we may use wooden chopping boards, but this kind of chopping board tends to harbor bacteria. After we cut something or leave animals' blood on the board, bacteria will grow quickly, which will become a hotbed of bacteria. So we suggest you use glass or plastic chopping board, since both are made of durable materials. If the plastic one has cutting marks, we suggest you replace it with a new one regularly. Sometimes we may wash vegetables with a lot of clean water. This may waste water resources. Actually, we can use warm water because its temperature helps remove pesticide residue. After soaking it for 15 minutes, we can wash it with clean water. Finally, we can cut the vegetables. After flood assistance in Thailand, Cambodia also suffered frequent rain during its annual monsoon season. Over 1,000 households in a township in Phnom Penh suffered devastating damage from the flooding, for which the township office asked Tzu Chi for some assistance. After a thorough investigation of the damage, Tzu Chi volunteers recently headed back to distribute rice to the families in need. To reciprocate the love, many of the recipients brought plastic bottles to donate, or what little money they had they could spare.
The plastic bottles backed up and brought to the venue is not for recycling day. It's actually the items these 8 recipients have gathered to reciprocate Tzu Chi for the rice distribution in Khan Chiba on Phnom Penh.
Don't think that you don't have the money, so you can't help anyone in need. The PET bottles you brought today is very helpful. It can be sold for money to be donated, as well as clean up the environment.
The monsoon season in Cambodia is from August through November, and this year heavy rainfall caused much flooding to Khan Chiba Ompong in Phnom Penh that the local head asked Tzu Chi for some assistance. After a thorough damage survey, the volunteers have brought rice for 1,754 households.
Thanks to Tzu Chi for caring about us and bringing the residents rice. To reciprocate, everyone must protect the environment and also ensure we stay healthy, so we can continue doing our part for the planet.
At the distribution venue, young volunteers helped the smooth flowing of the event, while the frowns on the recipients' faces were turned upside down.
My home was flooded this time. I'm so thankful to Tzu Chi for giving my family rice in our time of need.
I'm very happy. It's beyond imaginable. We finally have rice to eat.
Some of the residents also donated a bit of their money as they hope this little bit can be spread to more people in need through the hands of Tzu Chi volunteers.
To help flood victims in Tamasri Rambai Bukit Mutajang, volunteers from Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter are conducting aid distributions in the disaster areas. Prior to this event, volunteers have noted down the affected residents that need special care. Recently, social workers from Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter paid a visit to these residents in need.
Social workers from Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter visit elderly people who live alone and console flood victims in Taman Sri Rambai.
Some flood victims may encounter some financial difficulties after the floods, so we're trying to understand their problems.
They enter the disaster areas to help families and listen to their needs.
Some of them may not need any financial help. Then we'll have a meeting and these families will become our care recipients. After we visit them and notice they're fine, we hope they can become our volunteers or our donating members.
The floods have destroyed their homes, and some families still live in deplorable conditions. Tzu Chi volunteers have brought them Jinshi folding beds so they can sleep better at night. The volunteer wish the victims can overcome their sadness and welcome a better future soon.
In our next report, we meet a Tzu Chi volunteer in Malaysia who was recently certified in Taiwan. After getting certified, he joined Tzu Chi's disaster relief work to help flood victims upon returning to Malaysia. After experiencing the car accidents before he joined Tzu Chi, he realized how impermanent life is, and therefore seizes every chance to cultivate himself and benefit others.
After getting certified as a Tzu Chi volunteer in Taiwan, Chen Chi-xiong, who grew up in Bukit Matijam, joins Tzu Chi's disaster relief work upon returning to Malaysia.
The volunteer certification process was tiring, but we were still filled with dharma joy. We made a vow to help the disaster victims upon returning to Malaysia. When they need our help, we will do our best.
Chen walks slowly, as there's a story behind this.
He had a car accident and rested at home for about a year. Then after he cultivated himself at home for a year, he joined Tzu Chi's team. He diligently cultivated himself in Tzu Chi's events.
He realized and understood how impermanent life is. Therefore, he began to cultivate himself and change his reckless attitude.
The car accident changed Chen's outlook on life. He began to shoulder responsibilities for himself as well as other people.
He
"50 kilometers away from a city in Sichuan, there is a small farming village called Happy Village. Over the years, many of the young able-bodies have left the village seeking better opportunities, leaving only one young couple remaining behind. Zhang Zheli and his wife used to run a small restaurant, which took up a toll on their health. In the end, the couple returned to their hometown to take up farming once more. Though living the simple life now, they have never felt more fulfilled. Let's learn more.
Entering these mountain roads, one is met with many twists and turns. Once in the middle of the mountain, the roads become hiking trails only. This village is known as Happy Village, where residents live a carefree farming lifestyle. Zhang Zheli and his wife are the few younger residents who have stayed in the village to work.
A farmer needs to do a lot of work, and every little detail needs to be handled directly. I keep thinking about this problem and how I can squeeze more time out to do Tzu Chi. Currently, my plan is to just work more hours at a time to spare the time for Tzu Chi.
The food on his table is all harvested from his own farm. The extra harvest, Zhang bags up and sells at the city's markets. It doesn't earn him much money, but it's an honest day's pay. On this day, Zhang's wife is taking the elderly residents to purchase needed supplies in the city. The elderly are full of praise for this hardworking couple.
When we have homework that we can't complete, the couple helps us. She's very friendly and we're so glad she's here to help us. She takes the time to chat with us and make sure we're not sad. They're good, kind people.
Each time Zhang needs to attend a volunteer training session, the journey is about 50-some kilometers and a strain on his budget.
I said it's difficult on our finances to go each month. It's about 100 RMB, which is a lot for farmers like us. But my husband said the right path is taken one step at a time.
The husband and wife is getting along better than before and has also brought Zhang's father into Tzu Chi.
Everyone wants to live the good life, but I say if you don't pave the road for others to walk on, no one can travel on this path. The road to purifying people's minds will never be easy to walk on. If you're scared to go, and I'm scared, then it will never get done.
The grounds surrounding dye technology in Sichuan have become fertile land thanks to Zhang, as he safeguards the land just like he would his own farm at home.
Copying Buddhist sutras can come one's mind. Centenarian Sichuan, a Tzu Chi volunteer, once worked as a midwife for years, and she helped deliver over 2,000 babies to the world. Her story has also been made into a Dai drama. She now goes to Kaohsiung to learn how to copy Buddhist sutras. Although she has never learned how to use the calligraphy brush before, she works diligently learning to write beautiful calligraphy.
During one Buddhist sutra copying class in Kaohsiung Jinsi Hall, the students focus on copying down a Buddhist sutra with their brushes, but this brush surprised Taekwondo, a centenarian Tzu Chi volunteer.
It feels so heavy and my hands keep shaking. I can't write it because I have never used the brush before.
Tsai studied Japanese ever since she was little, so writing Chinese is a challenge to her, not to mention writing it with calligraphy. However, she is a wise person.
Taking the first step is not easy, so I will study hard. Hopefully, I will become calmer in the end and write them beautifully.
Tsai Kwan believes she can do it, so the 70-year-old Guo Shuihua, even though she has never used brush before and she cannot read.
When I wrote them at home, the words would become squeezed together, but my son always told me, "Mom, don't worry, take your time."
When she started, her words would link together, but she has copied 2 sutras for 8 months, and her calligraphy has become very beautiful.
We began in March, and she didn't come only once because her eye had a surgery. Now she writes every word in the same size and with the same amount of shade. Her penmanship is more beautiful than mine.
With a calm mind, her hand will not shake, and her calligraphy will change too. It shows that even if a person has never used brush before and has never learned to read, he or she can still copy Buddhist sutras.
Thai mothers from Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter organized special events for graduate students from an elementary school in Kuala Lumpur to express their gratitude for teachers. They also gave a sign language performance at the event. We will leave you with these images. Goodbye!